Like their outdoor cultivation counterparts, greenhouses offer a friendly and fertile environment for the growth of flowers, fruit, and other agriculture crops. And just like open fields and farmland, greenhouse environments sometimes require the application of chemical pesticides in order to produce cost-effective crop yields. An essential part of the spraying process is to see to it that any application equipment is functioning properly and is calibrated accurately for best results. Before we get started, let's take a look at some of the important equipment and concepts involved in the process of greenhouse spraying. Chemical refers to the concentrated pesticide, adjuvant, etc. before it is mixed with water. The word spray is actually used in two different ways. The first refers to the mixture of chemical and water at the correct concentration as set by the label. The second use is as a verb, meaning to apply the mixture of chemical and water through the sprayer. Clear water is the water straight from the water supply. Rinsate is water after it has rinsed some part of the sprayer. Rinsate has some pesticide contamination, but is too diluted to be used as spray. A lance is one type of sprayer end containing multiple nozzles on a wand. A gun is another type of sprayer end containing a single nozzle. For the purposes of this presentation, we have already calculated how much spray and chemical will be required. Before you mix, have a completed spray calculation worksheet listing how much spray and chemical you will mix. Before you spray, complete all appropriate record keeping and notification as required. Refer to the pesticide product label to make sure you have all the personal protective equipment, or PPE, required for both mixing and spraying, as well as dedicated pesticide measuring cups, scales, etc., and all chemicals and labels to be mixed. For the mixing stage, follow the label for PPE required for mixing, as it may be different than the PPE required for spraying. Measure out the amount of each chemical required. Add clear water to the spray tank to a level about half the total volume of spray. Begin agitation and add pesticides. If tank mixing different pesticides or adjuvants such as spreader stickers or anti-foaming agents, check for compatibility on the labels and add chemicals in the order listed on the labels. Rinse each measuring cup at least 3 times, pouring the rinsate into the spray tank. Fill the spray tank to the level of total spray volume while maintaining agitation. Do not leave the tank unattended while filling. Walk to the end of the house opposite the door, pulling the sprayer's hose the length of the house. Consider the best route to take through the house to get full coverage of plants and to minimize your exposure to spray in the air and on surfaces. If there is rinse water remaining in the hose and gun from the last time the sprayer was used, spray out this rinse water under the bench until the new spray mix is coming out from the lance or gun. Often, this will be indicated by cloudiness or foam. For this application, you'll walk down each aisle to spray. This allows you to easily get good coverage on both sides of each bench. Depending on your sprayer and the bench configuration, you may be able to spray multiple benches at a time, but you should still spray them from each direction. As you spray, walk out of the aisle backward, heading back toward the central walkway. This allows you to spray where you've already been, instead of walking through plants which have just been sprayed. As you spray, keep in mind that the plants you are spraying will receive another application from the opposite direction, so make sure not to over-apply. Another consideration is that the end of the bench facing the wall will not receive the second pass, so be sure to spray these plants on both sides as thoroughly as possible. The next aisle you spray should be on the opposite side of the house. This allows the spray in the vicinity of the first aisle to settle while you are spraying the second aisle, reducing the amount of spray in the air when you return to that side of the house. Walk to the end of the aisle before spraying and spray while walking backward to the central walkway as before. Return to the next aisle on the first side of the house and continue spraying both sides of each bench. How much spray you should deposit on the leaf depends on several factors, including how the spray works on the target pest. Sprays like horticultural soaps and oils need to coat the pest, while some ingestion toxins only need to leave a residue on the leaf. Check the label for recommendations on spray coverage. Consider using spray-sensitive paper occasionally to assess your coverage. Systemic and translaminar sprays may only need to be applied to the top surface of the leaf, while contact sprays must be applied to both surfaces of the leaf for most pests. Droplet size affects coverage and efficacy. In general, smaller droplets give better coverage, but pose a greater risk of drift and don't penetrate tight canopies well. So many of our greenhouse pests hang out on the undersides of leaves and deep inside the leaf canopy, and we need to make sure our spray is reaching those areas. Set the pressure on the sprayer such that the spray can gently move leaves and penetrate the canopy, but not so strong that you will burn the foliage. Position the lance or gun so that the spray is traveling upward and creating currents which move and gently flip the foliage. Consider attaching spray-sensitive paper in a few locations in the house inside the canopy and on the underside of leaves to assess your penetration and coverage. Often, as the spray settles back down, it gives adequate coverage on the top side of the leaves, but if not, give a quick pass over the top of the canopy to complete the coverage. When calibrated and measured correctly, spray product will run out just as you finish good coverage on the last of the crop. If there is some left over in the spray tank, however, continue to apply to the crop until the spray is used up. When completed, the pump and hose will still have some spray remaining in them. Add a little clear water to the tank to push this remaining spray out. Spray the remaining spray onto the crop, but stop as soon as the rinsate reaches the gun or lance. Usually there will be some air pushed out at this point. Don't spray the rinsate onto the crop. As you clean the sprayer, think of the tank distinct from the pump and hose. Rinse the tank with clean water at least to the level of the pesticide you just applied. Dump this rinsate in the treated area, often under a bench in the house you just sprayed. Now your tank is rinsed while your pump and hose are still dirty. Add enough clear water to the tank to get a thorough rinse on the pump and hose. Begin the agitation. Spray this rinsate out in the treated area, often under a bench in the house you just sprayed, until the pump and hose are fully rinsed. Don't spray this rinsate on the crop. Drain any excess out of the tank. Now both the tank and the pump and hose have been rinsed and the tank is empty, while the pump and hose are still full of rinsate. At this point, some sprayers should be pumped dry, while others should be stored with rinsate still in them. Refer to the manual that came with the sprayer to find the manufacturer's recommendations about whether or not you should spray to empty the pump and hose at this point. If the sprayer is to be stored with rinsate in it, be sure it is somewhere that will not freeze. Another consideration for this type of sprayer is that the next time you spray, you must remember to spray out this rinsate under the bench at the beginning of your next spray. Otherwise, the first plants you treat will be sprayed with old rinsate and not the newly mixed pesticide. As you can see, taking the proper steps throughout the entire application process, from calibration and calculation through application and cleaning, will lead to a successful and effective treatment. Be sure to check out additional programs in this series on how to properly calibrate, calculate, and mix a spray for the greenhouse.